to get up and out onto the big boat at this stage. Look at the boat, it's absolutely filled with water already. It's half sinking as they came out. They're absolutely desperate for water. A number of them just collapsing in front of us. Libya is a country where I have spent a lot of time. I mean, I was there in 2011 with the fall of Colonel Gaddafi. I even wrote a book about it. And I feel like I've spent a lot of my journalistic career either reporting from Libya or about the effects of what happened in Libya.
At a pace unmatched in recent years, a wave of migrant crossings continues. A fishing boat believed to be refugees departing from Libya.
So what is it that draws so many people from around the world to make this journey?
Crossing the Mediterranean is the final major challenge for most of those who are coming from Africa and the rest of the world who want to get to Europe. A lot of those people end up in the UK. So what happens in Libya directly impacts us in Northern Europe. I'm just looking at videos like this one, showing small boats full of people turning up on tourist beaches on an almost daily basis in Crete, in Greece. And this video shows even beachgoers, the local population, pushing these boats back out to sea, stopping them from landing. I think it really demonstrates just how strongly some people feel about what's going on. And certainly these people seem to be saying they don't want this to happen anymore. You know, I want to see how the East Libyans are dealing with this migration challenge, because they want international recognition for what they're doing. And I've heard they're spending a lot of money in trying to stop these small boats going across the Mediterranean.
We've arrived in East Libya, and it's a people smuggler's paradise. The country itself is separated into two regions, the west, which has international recognition, and the larger eastern region, which is run by an authoritarian regime under General Haftar and his sons. It's estimated that there are over 850,000 migrants and refugees in Libya, with a lot of them using it as a transit point to get to Europe. Dozens line the streets in the east, all waiting to move on to other countries.
Hi. Assalamu alaikum. Can I just ask you where you've come from, first of all? What did you leave in Sudan?
The conflict is the main reason. And exactly, I can't live in a place whereby there is targeting and the war, and that's why I decided to come here, so I can at least survive with the Libyan, and as it is part of the nearer neighboring country.
You're essentially refugees, right, from a war. How concerned are you that you're not being treated like refugees?
They see us like we are criminals, and at the same time they see us like we are doing illegal things that is against the law. But for us, we're supposed to be treated as equal. The way they treat us, they just imprison us for no reason.
All of us are struggling, we're trying to do our best, and our dreams, it is just to go to Europe one day, one time, to help our families. That's all.
How are you planning to get to Europe?
Actually, it is very risky, and maybe it can take our lives. We go through boats from Libya to Greece. It costs 3 days in the ocean. So everything is in hand of God. If God say that you are going to make it to Europe, I think nothing will stop us.
We're spending time with the Anti-Illegal Migration Unit. They've given us unusual access to see how they deal with the tens of thousands illegally passing through their part of the country. At night, the unit moved through the back streets. They're searching for the people smugglers and the boats used to traffic people across the sea. They'll also bring in any illegal travellers they can find.
So we've been told that they've been watching some locations which they believe to be suspicious and full of people who are going to try to cross the water, and they're going to try and check them out. We're going to go with them.
The team is heavily armed and approaches with caution. Smugglers can react violently when caught. What they find is a frightened group of Sudanese men and women.
Tell me a little bit about why you left Sudan. Whereabouts are you all from in Sudan, and why did you leave?
I lived in an area called Omdurman in Khartoum. I lost a brother from a war and I'm injured. I broke my leg. There wasn't enough food, no water, and lots of fighting. Many people are dying because of these reasons.
Okay, and how did you get here?
2 weeks ago we left Sudan and we walked for 2 days in the desert. We were smuggled into Egypt and took a train from Aswan to Cairo. We stayed in the Libyan-Egyptian borders and we hiked between the mountains. We stayed under the sun for 2 days in the desert, outside with no shelter. And during that time, we ate one meal.
And how much did you pay for that journey?
8,000 Egyptian pounds.
Their journey from Sudan was long and difficult, and when they arrived here in Tobruk, the smugglers left them with a promise that they'd return. They never did. The team packed them in the trucks, heading back to a detention center.
This is happening all night long, they're telling us. Every night they're getting lots of calls from their neighbours, informants telling them about large groups of people who are trying to cross the sea.
It's the season, it's every day. The sea is calm, so it's every day.
We've arrived at a kind of industrial storage unit. It's extremely late, and we've got no idea what could be inside.
They've taken out at least 2 rubber dinghies, probably could transport about 60 to 100 people. And they reckon on the black market, the smugglers would probably be making in a region of about 150,000 American dollars. So a lot of money goes into this network. How satisfied do you feel about making this discovery?
Absolutely, we're happy. This is the job that I was asked to do, but I've done it.
Do you feel sometimes you're just scratching the surface? It's an English phrase, but do you feel like you're only just taking a little tiny part of it?
We'll increase this number of scratches until we start digging deeper.
Very successful for the illegal migration team. We're very happy with it so far.
Benghazi is the default capital of East Libya, and it's changed dramatically in the last 10 years.
Say that they've cleared this area, that there are still a few, maybe a handful of snipers further down, and they're determined to root them out.
Parts of the city were once held by ISIS and torn apart by war.
It's astonishing how much Benghazi itself, in particular, has changed. I mean, it seems like only a few years ago, you couldn't really walk anywhere in the city without fearing as a foreigner that you might be kidnapped, shot, taken hostage.
Now, money from General Haftar's regime is everywhere. Roads rebuilt, shopping malls springing up, new buildings rising. There is stability, but a lot of it is built on fear.
Marshal, welcome to Athens.
General Haftar's always craved attention and recognition from Northern Europe. And one way to get it has been to control the flow of migration. I'm speaking to an expert who looks at these political moves.
Think of it from a game theory perspective. If every time the statistics go up, in other words, they trigger a panic in Italy and Greece, all of a sudden the Europeans become much nicer, much more prompt to offer all kinds of gifts and incentives. What are you going to do if you're a rational actor? You're going to bring down the statistics to a much lower level. And then after 18 months or something like that, you're going to basically orchestrate a spike.
And there seem to be two motivations for this, for any approach by the East Libyan authorities towards migration.
Yeah, I think there are two categories of rewards that are correctly expected from the entirety of the European Union. One is not tangible. It's recognition, respect, pompous ceremony, and the other one is economic incentives, economic aid, more help with reconstruction, more help with equipment when it comes to law enforcement and the Coast Guard.
Okay, I'm just following you. Where are we going?
We're here to report on the people smuggling epidemic in East Libya. But it does feel like the regime wants us to report on how capable they are and what a good job they're doing.
Okay.
It's a pasta bolognese with the chicken meat.
Yeah, I think I followed it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
All the so-called illegal migrants picked up are sent to one of nearly 40 detention centres in East Libya. Today we're seeing inside the main one in Benghazi.
You see all around there's lots of building work being done because they're renovating this place, they're expanding it. This is a problem that they clearly see they have to make way for or prepare for because it's not going away anytime soon.
The guards here keep a close eye on us, so it's unclear whether the women feel they can talk freely.
Hi. You want to come in? Go and come in. Hi. Hi there. Assalamu alaikum.
But the first young woman I speak to, a child from Eritrea, tells us of being abused by the smugglers who brought her to Libya.
Who was the person who raped you? The smuggler?
Yeah.
The smuggler?
Yeah, in Sudan. First in Sudan, me, and in Libya, the another guy.
The smugglers?
Yeah.
The person who's trying to get you over? That sounds awful.
Well, how did you cope with that?
I'm checking even for pregnant, I'm not pregnant, but for HIV, still not answered. They're waiting. It's not good in here. They want to go, but it's not good. Everything is not good.
I'm sorry, they're making me leave.
Each person we meet has a different, terrible story. Some are being held until they can be deported back to their country of origin. And a few are held and released into West Libya. But the lack of international dialogue with some countries can mean people stay in the centres for a considerable time.
Hi guys. Merhaba, assalamu alaikum. Does anyone speak English?
Yes.
Okay, great. Where are you from?
From Nigeria.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah.
You were coming through Libya to go to somewhere in Europe?
No, some of us, we want to cross over if we have the opportunity. But once we don't have opportunity, we walk because we are not lazy. We are not lazy type. We like to keep ourselves busy, walking.
Okay, so how long have you been in the detention centre?
I've been here. I was arrested in November.
November
year? 14, yes, last year.
And you all wanted to head to Europe? You all wanted to go to Europe?
Yes.
What about safety in these centres? Do you feel safe?
Not safe. As you can see, when we are here, no more going outside. We are living here. They just brought us into this new room 3-4 days ago. They just bring us here into this new room 3 days ago. Any room that they took us, if you see dustbin, it's very bad.
The centres we visit are a bit chaotic, and we're being shown the better ones. We hear stories of corruption, some paying their way out, some held indiscriminately. None of them appear to have access to legal help. We find less chaos out on the water. The mission here seemed simpler.
We're with the East Libyan Coast Guard, and they are looking out for migrants, refugees, who are trying to make the journey from Tobruk on the East Libyan coast. We're not too far away from Crete. So from Tobruk to Crete, it's a few hundred kilometers, so it's not far. But my goodness, can you imagine doing this journey on a small boat? It takes them, they reckon, about 2 or 3 days. We are tantalizingly close to Greece. You can see it through the haze, the sort of island, about 40 miles off. And the East Libyan Coast Guard is waiting here to see if it can spot boats which will inevitably turn up, which are trying to head to those islands.
This boat from our port side, about 2.5 cables from us. 2.5 cables from port side.
We've been on board for almost 24 hours, and in the middle of the night we get the call that they've spotted a boat.
The lights that you can see are a larger boat, which has communicated with this one that they've seen some refugees, migrants on the water, so they're going out to check it out. Can you see over there, Colin?
Yeah.
What can you pick up?
Yeah, it looks like people too.
They're shouting, "Help me, help me." just thrown them a rope. They're anxious that they don't jump into the water. They're worried what's going to happen if they jump in. So they're trying to say, stay in the boat, we'll pull you in. Very anxious to get up and out onto the big boat at this stage. They don't even have life jackets. They've just got little rubber dinghies around them. Look at the boat. It's absolutely filled with water already. It was half sinking as they came out. They're absolutely desperate for water. A number of them just collapsing in front of us. Look, absolutely desperate for water, crying out for water.
This girl is very, very hard. Very hard. That's why I'm talking exactly. But thank you very much for helping us here. And it is pleasure for me to see, such kind like this helping.
This boat is taking you back to Libya.
Really?
Yes.
No.
These are the East Libyan Coast Guard.
And if we say that we're gonna go next, for example, in Greek, we're gonna go or we cannot go?
They're taking you away from Greece. They're taking you to Libya.
We don't like Libyan exactly because we don't like Libyan, of course, but sometimes we have. But generally, Libya is a very hard country. Yeah, of course. Very hard country. We face more troubles.
As the news that the ship is going back to Libya filters to the rest of the refugees, there's disbelief, which quickly turns to anger.
They're pretty desperate, saying, please don't take us back to Sudan, please don't take us back to Libya. A number of them have already tried before and spent some time in detention centres in Libya before being returned and then trying again.
Throw me in the water and let me die, but I'm not going back to Sudan or Libya.
What was your assessment when you first saw them? The boat was sinking, the engine was off. Just describe what you worked out when you first saw them.
I would describe this boat as death on water. It's plastic and it's not made to take this long distance. A total of only 6 meters with 46 people on it with a small engine that doesn't work. It could sink at any moment.
Were you in Greek waters there?
We were in between the Libyan and Egyptian water. But in cases like this, you wouldn't question which water we were in. You could see that the water was already inside the boat. 2 or 3 hours later, they would all be dead, so we couldn't waste time.
The men are from Sudan and Eritrea, a long distance away. It can take weeks to trek through deserts and pass into Egypt and Libya. Then they sit on a dangerous boat for days. We appeared to be incredibly close to Greece last night picking these men up. Humanitarian groups are questioning whether it's right for East Libya, an authority not internationally recognised so far, to be patrolling Europe's waters searching for refugees like them.
I think a lot of people will wonder about the whole ethics of picking up people who have fled a war zone and who've picked them up off the coast of what they consider safety in Europe, and then they've taken them all the way back again to Libya, another country which is considered to be very fractured and very unstable and full of a certain number of dangers.
Once back on shore, one man makes a desperate bid for freedom. He's caught and brought back. The men now wait for another detention centre and whatever comes next. Europe's borders now stretch deep into North Africa. East Libya's authorities insist they're stopping the flow of migrants, and they want Europe to notice. These people will keep trying, though, trapped between the wars that they're fleeing and the walls of Europe that get ever higher. And as East Libya waits for Europe's reward, the question seems to be, what is the price of trying to shut Europe's doors?